That's tag shit.
Free fall as I die through the kaleidoscope in my mind. No rope up to climb. Gotta remind myself that I'm fine. Mama, I don't really want.
Welcome to another installment of Hot Tag Me In, where the triple threat brain trusted tag over the good, the bad, and everything in between in the world of professional wrestling. I, of course, am the unofficially official Lip Dizzle, joined with none other than.
Oh yeah, you see it. You see it.
I guess from the Tag Gold side of things, Scoot Hard, Scooter Ray.
Hey.
And Jaeger Bombastic, so fantastic that if he had the championship like I have, there's be some things swimming in the back.
Whatever.
Yes.
Hey, audio now, visual later.
Whatever. You got it back. It's fine.
It'd be okay.
I did get it back, and it's like I told Scoot, because I know some of y'all seen on the NXT Battleground recap review. I didn't have the title out because I didn't feel like it was worthy enough for me to have at that point in time. But this show is the show that won it for me, so I'm more than happy to put this across the chest. We're gonna set it down for right now because we got to talk business anyway.
Yeah.
Quick overall thoughts on Double or Nothing.
I didn't hate it. There you go. I didn't hate it.
It was a good show, but it wasn't one of their best shows.
Well, I know Scoot has some gripes, and I'm sure we'll get into that once we get into particular matches. I didn't care too much, which I'm not going to put a graphic up for it, but I didn't care too much for the buy-in. I felt like that was just it's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
The problem that I have is with Ethan Page. Because, and it's not necessarily a problem with him, it's more so just for the fact of his booking and the kind of start-stop shit that they have with him. Now, the Firm, as much as I despise Stokely Hathaway,
forever,
I feel like the Firm had a good start and a good overall build around them as far as what they could potentially be. But I feel like the execution behind them as a whole has been completely lackluster outside of what the Guns have done. But again, like I said in the review, on my predictions, I had stated that the Guns, more so their build and stuff that was going on with them, was more so because of their feud with the Acclaim and FTR, rather than what they did with the Firm. So the Firm technically did nothing for them outside of further their own push that they had with their previous feuds. But as far as the buy-in match, I could have done completely without.
Well, and let's be honest, when it comes to factions, AEW has an issue with booking factions.
Well, they also have way too many.
I mean, they're better with booking tag teams. They're getting better with booking trios. But when it comes to a whole faction, it kind of gets a little weird for them for reasons. Because I mean, don't forget, at one point we had like Dark Order with all the members they had. You had the whole Elite with all the people they had. Who else was a bigger faction before?
Elite, Inner Circle.
Inner Circle. And now we only have I mean, I don't know the state of the Firm at the moment, but right now we only got the Elite, BCC, and JAS as bigger factions at the moment.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, that buy-in I could have done without. I get why they did it, for the whole thing with Jeff Hardy coming back, but I really need Ethan Page to be booked way better than, because I mean he deserves more. I think he should have been the first All Atlantic champion. But that's my own personal bias.
If not the first, then at least be the one to dethrone Orange. But I mean, don't think that's about to happen no time soon because with Hardy having control of his contract, I guess
I
we'll
mean,
see where
he
that goes.
could. He could. They could end up turning him face, but I think he's way better as a heel. Um,
He has a
but
heel face, like his face is out of a heel.
that's true. Ironically enough, speaking of the All Atlantic now International Championship,
I'm gonna just keep it 100% real with y'all, and y'all might feel differently. This was
mm,
stupid,
I
and I'm gonna
agree.
tell you, why this was stupid,
It looks stupid.
huh?
You said it looks stupid.
The battle royal,
Oh, the battle royal was stupid.
yeah, the battle royal
Okay,
was
yeah.
stupid to me because you had all of these people, then you had all of these people who had feuds with each other in this, and at no point in time did it look like anyone truly could dethrone Orange. I mean, yeah, the ending
I
with
don't
him
feel
and
that
Swerve,
way.
where it was like, did they get the whole mobile embassy all with gold? But it was stupid. It was just
Hmm,
to get a payday for a lot of people.
damn.
So
That's how I felt about it personally.
I thought the battle royal was booked well enough for what it was. I had an issue with the participants because the majority of the participants were tag teams.
And that
Uh,
too.
Yeah,
so that kind of basically deflated a lot of what it could have been in my eyes. But at the same time, due to how Orange had been booked up to that point, there was no believable way that he would have lost that title within the confines of a battle royal. With Orange is going to lose pin, submission, or by way of some type of disqualification or
Hmm.
shenanigans.
yeah.
But
He's gonna lose in an actual match.
yeah, because with this, he's building up that wear and tear while defending this title. So
Hmm.
that's how it's going to come to a head. Which,
I could
like I
I
said,
could see him losing as early as this Wednesday. Man.
he's got two more defenses, in my opinion. I think
Who's
he's
he
got
going
two
against
more.
Wednesday?
I don't even know if he's got a match Wednesday, but I'm
Oh,
saying if they announce one or anything.
hell, at this
Um,
point, he might fuck around and have it up until Forbidden Door.
Yeah,
that could be when he loses it.
Yeah. So at this point,
Well, I'd say, when is because Forbidden Door is the next one. So we got Forbidden Door, and then after that is All In, and All In is the 27th of August. So I don't see him holding it up to that point. I give him probably to July, but that would mean that he would have to lose it on like an episode of Dynamite, or
like a
it could
special.
be Collision.
baby.
So
One of these,
yeah.
one of these little things, we gotta discuss Collision because I gotta get y'all's thoughts and opinions on Collision.
What's up? What's up with that collision, man?
Well, quick sidebar for the people.
That's fun.
We'll give y'all a 2-in-1. I don't know how I feel about Collision because it sounds like he wants to do a brand split type of situation. Because with him
Ah,
specifically saying these are going to be wrestlers you will for sure see on Collision. So you're telling me we're never going to see the BCC on there? We're never going to see Elite? Like we're never going to see like is Miro only relegated to Collision? Can Miro never come to Dynamite? Thunder Rosa, she's only relegated to Collision. She can never come back to Dynamite. Like, you know, that's my weird thing I have with Collision at the moment.
Yeah, because they're talking about it as if, as far as the rumors go, they're talking about it as if it's going to be something akin to a split.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that it's being marketed outside of the rumors is a show that's akin to WCW Saturday Night,
Mm-hmm. And
which
then, oh, go ahead.
yeah, and I was gonna save this for a video, but I think I'll go ahead and explain it now. It's one of those situations where it's good and bad at the same time, because I think about, and I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but me and my preteens having WCW Saturday Night
Mm-hmm.
as a wrestling show that I could see on the weekend, because of course, being a preteen, not much to do on the weekend, especially on a Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that I was looking forward to and able to watch. So for younger viewers, it makes sense. But for younger viewers and then diehard professional wrestling fans, and not to say that we're not diehards, but it's like we also have lives and stuff to do, just like
Yeah.
any other normal person.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be, we're not going to be the target demographic for that. So if this is a way that they're trying to book it, where it's like, okay, well, reviewers, let's give them something for the weekend, then that's fine. But they would have to market it and push it that way versus trying to make it, something like a Dynamite or a Rampage where they have
Mm-hmm.
throughout the week, you know. So, because if they're expecting fans like us, then I don't see an upside to it, because you're looking at a harsh dip in viewership and ratings.
You know,
So
Saturday nights too.
yeah,
Absolutely.
but that's my small 2 cents on that.
You know what? I ain't even think
So,
about that aspect until you said it.
but to be clear, they are getting rid of Rampage then, right?
No.
Mm-mm.
No, so they're going to keep Rampage too. Okay, so then here's what I'm thinking it's going to be then. I'm thinking that unfortunately Scoot might be onto something with it being like these are going to be collision wrestlers, but they're still under AEW. But
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be where New Japan, Ring of Honor, Impact, and AEW collide, for lack of a better term, and it's going to be like that brand infusion. So like because they've all been promising to work together. I'm thinking it's something like on that scale.
Especially with the name Collision, that can
Yeah,
sound
I mean, yeah,
fair. Yeah.
but I'm sorry, I just dropped off what I was trying to say. Damn it, I just completely dropped that. Damn. No, I mean,
Well,
I would love it to be. Sorry, yeah, I'd love it to be to where like people that are on Dynamite and Rampage, yeah, can come over to Collision, but yeah, it's gonna be. I don't really see it. Like, what do you mean that you think they're gonna end up losing fans from this?
no, they won't lose fans. They're going to end up losing
I mean,
viewership
viewership. Excuse me,
times,
viewership. Sorry,
because
sorry.
Normally
it's
you
not
out there
gonna.
doing something for Saturday nights.
Yeah, you're not going to get the same amount of viewership that you get on a Wednesday or a Friday. And even Friday is a stretch, because Friday is already dipping in viewership compared to Dynamite. And that's only because of a time slot, not because the
Mm-hmm.
show's bad. I think Tony made a mistake with having Rampage at that time slot. He should have just went ahead and just competed with SmackDown and just left it at that. And just because the thing is, WWE doesn't have a problem with competing with AEW. I mean, if you look at them trying to put up NXT, which is a stupid decision, NXT up against Double or Nothing last
Yeah.
night. But
Mm.
uh, yeah, if they market it a certain way, which I don't think this needs to be a akin to a brand split, because you have ROH. So if you have ROH, there's your second brand. There's where you can put other people over there, because you already have belts that's implemented and put in place. There's no need for you to make another show and then potentially add more belts that you don't need, because you already have an issue with championships in AEW as it is. But yeah, I think it's more so just a wait and see aspect to Collision, because there's so much rumors that's going on that we can't just see through everything that's going on as far as like what is accurate, because you got a whole bunch of the CM Punk stuff, and I've played very carefully not to even talk about that.
I
But
mean, the first show is in Chicago.
yeah, and they've already that's been the one thing that's been confirmed, is that
Mhm.
first show is going to be in Chicago. That's the only thing of note that we know for sure, as far as all these rumors that's been going on, what exactly is happening. We don't know if Punk is going to be there. We don't know if it's going to be a split brand type of thing. We don't know what the position that they're holding with this show is, but we know it's going to be in Chicago.
Mhm.
So,
And look, there I go.
Do y'all think Punk is gonna come back?
Why have the first one in Chicago?
Come on, man! Don't do that to us.
Think about Dynamite and all the dates Tony announced, and the
Yeah.
fact that the first one is in Chicago. That sounds like if it's not Punk coming back, it's definitely that old school WWE. You thought so? It's either gonna be one of the two. It's either gonna be a you thought or a Punk is coming back.
Yeah.
Hey.
I mean, regardless, there's money in it, but it be's what it is.
It is.
Orange Cassidy retains. I'll say that.
Yeah, Cassidy retains.
This was probably my what the fuck of the beginning of the night.
You know what?
This oddball unsanctioned match.
So, around the time this match had started, I think what was the second match on NXT? Was it the Last Man Standing? I think I kind of wasn't all the way tuned in with this one. I saw bits and pieces here and there. I remember when the match was getting signed and they was like Sabu was gonna, and I was like, why did we get Sabu to come? Like, I was expecting Kyle O'Reilly and Fish or somebody to come back. Not
That's who I was like sitting out. Man, I was sitting like jumping up and down in my chair. Why the hell? It's like Colorado Bobby Fish didn't even jump on the pay-per-view or anything.
My bad. The Heritage Cup match was happening during this, but I started off watching it, and every now and then I would look, and I kind of trailed off, and I guess it did what it was supposed to do. Now, if I remember correctly, unsanctioned matches, they don't count, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, see, and that's the reason why when we did the predictions, I went for Cole, because it was like, that's Jericho's out. Yeah, I lost, but I lost in a match that doesn't go in the record books.
Yeah.
And,
see, this is why I picked Jericho to win, because I figured that it was going to be shenanigans with Sabu because of their history. It's like, okay, Adam Cole could call Sabu, but I mean, there's history with Jericho and Sabu. So,
yeah,
I was like, okay, well, he'll easily turn on Cole, whether it be like a quick payday or whatever. And then you can extend this whole feud. But I just didn't like the way that this shit finished. And I know people will sit here and be like, well, Jericho didn't tap or get pinned or whatever. But at the same time, it's just like, you could have done this a much better way. And I get that Aubrey Edwards is, hated amongst the hills. So he could easily say, well, she cost me the match by calling it without, me saying anything, which is cool. But, there's so many better ways to use Aubrey Edwards in a situation with a heel, which we'll get into later.
I was about to say they got creative.
But for this match, no. This match, I didn't care too much for it.
But and at the same time too, this is Jericho's thing. he tries to work with the person who's hot. Or, Cole was just coming back. Let me work with the person who's hot. And it was like, unfortunately to me, this was a feud I never wanted. I never cared to want to see Cole and Jericho. Like, yeah, it's cool to see it, but I didn't care
I
at
think
all.
they took their time to make a story that, yeah, just didn't overall care about.
Basically, and we're still continuing it on, but with the added additions of Paige and Saraya and Britt Baker.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we are now. Um,
Mm.
huh. And in sidebar, speaking of Stokely Hathaway, we got the firm involved in a number of matches, and he out there doing what commentator work for the buy-in.
Yeah. He was doing the pre-show stuff.
He's supposed to be her being heels and shit, but it. So I digress. What was next? Speaking of which talking about Aubrey Edwards being used in a different way, in a much better fashion. FTR versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, with special guest referee of Mark Briscoe being implemented. I didn't mind it. I didn't mind this match.
I didn't mind it, but my heart of hearts, even though I picked FTR, my booking mind really thought this was going to go the other way. And I thought it was going to go the other way because of Briscoe.
Okay, so, and you're probably about to answer this, so I apologize if I'm asking a redundant question. But do you mean it in the form of him actually being a heel, or shenanigans happening, it being by mistake?
No, him actually turning on FTR and aligning himself with. I know, Loki. I know. I'm sorry. I know. I misjudged the man's character. I'm sorry. But I honestly thought he was gonna, hey, FTR, I'm officially gonna join whatever the hell that group is called, So, but it didn't, and I'm glad that. I mean, especially with all the damn shenanigans that went on in this match. Shit.
I expected a lot of the shenanigans because of who was all involved. I didn't expect Aubrey Edwards to get bonked over the head with a guitar. But I was here for it. I was here for it, and mainly because the first funny thing that happened is when I think it was the Acclaim when Jarrett and Lethal had faced the Acclaim, when they had the whole little swerve title win, and Aubrey Edwards was involved, and Jarrett was nudging her away. I thought that shit was hilarious. And then you get to this, and ironically enough, Karen Jarrett is the one that ends up actually assaulting Aubrey Edwards, getting that nice heel heat. But yeah, the match was all right. I would have wanted a better match for FTR, but this is more so for the story and the. I like Jarrett.
Hold on, I'm gonna give you a quick sidebar and give the people a thing to look out for. You're gonna have to make that video.
Which one?
The one that you was telling me about, the booking thing.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you later, but go ahead.
I like Jarrett. I think he looks good physically, and as far as like him being on TV, not in the same vein as Jericho. Jericho's good in ring, good character. The only problem with Jarrett being here is that it's serving as a great disservice to Jay Lethal. And Jay Lethal is starting to run the risk of looking like Scorpio Sky booking wise, based
Ooh.
on the people that he's being surrounded with. Because this is going to be this in the same vein as what happened with Scorpio Sky when him and Ethan Page were messing around with American Top Team. And all it's going to do is going to make him look like a joke. And he doesn't deserve that. The same reason, the same way that Scorpio Sky didn't deserve that, same way that Ethan Page didn't deserve that. It's going to bring his stock down considerably. And I don't want this to be a situation where people just look at Jay Lethal as a Ring of Honor guy when he should be in the high mid-card main event scene in AEW. So TK, just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. But we have any more thoughts on this match? Because I sure so don't.
No, I'm just happy FTR can move on.
Well, yeah, you know what? They
Yeah.
can because we did get a happy ending with this. So hopefully it just transfers to Mark Briscoe and he can feud with them and they can leave that as it is. Because I think there's still story there between Briscoe and Lethal. So
I think so too.
we can see what happens there. But Wardlow defending his TNT championship against Christian Cage in a ladder match.
This is where it all started here.
You would have to forgive me because I didn't really see too much of this match, unfortunately. Because I think during this time, last man standing time. So
yes, it was. This match was fine for Wardlow, one of Wardlow's better matches for sure. The only thing for me, and this is just a personal perspective from me on this end, is that's the fact that I already don't like Wardlow's title reign. I don't think that he should be TNT champion. That's not anything against him. It's just the way that he's booked. Him having a TNT championship and the way that he's booked with this championship is just fucking trash. He's not bad in the ring. He's not a bad character. It's just the way that he's being booked. And the way that the titles has flip-flopped from him and then well, it wasn't flip-flop to Joe. Joe actually did fantastic. But going off of Joe to him to Hobbs and back to Wardlow was just fucking stupid to me.
Well, wait, remember, it was Joe, Darby, Joe, Wardlow, Hobbs, Wardlow.
So when Darby won it, I had my gripes, but I could almost forgive it. I could almost forgive it just based on the match that they had, and then him winning it back and then going from there.
Yeah.
But again, my personal opinion, I just feel that the booking would have served way better for Wardlow had he beat Joe for the television title for ROH, and then you could have booked Wardlow in Ring of Honor while you have MJF as AEW champion on AEW side. That way you're not boxing because right now Wardlow's boxed in because they can't put him at a top spot because they don't want to dethrone MJF yet. On top of that, all you're doing is occupying a spot that's meant for somebody else, but sliding in Wardlow. Wardlow was served better over on ROH, being their television champion and potentially going up against Claudio for the Ring of Honor championship, to do something, because at least he can be somebody big over there and they can book him accordingly. He doesn't lose stock by being over there. He was already a lackey for MJF. So him getting a rub on this side doesn't hurt him at all. Right now, you're hurting him and you're hurting a TNT title in the TNT title scene that's meant for other people. So I picked Wardlow to win just because booking, and I figured that that's what they would do. But I think Christian would have served a better TNT champion. One, for his character, and then two, you could have easily built up Luchasaurus even more on this end to whether he would either be a face or he'd just turn on Christian Cage and still continue to be a heel. But I think they really made a bad call with this one. Just that's just my 2 cents. But it was a good match for Wardlow, though.
Okay, that's it. I saw the Swanton dive that he did off the ladder, but for the most part,
That made me wince because if you look, he kind of lands like right on his ass.
oh, for real, damn. But other than
Yeah,
that, I didn't really get a chance to personally see this match, so I have nothing on it really more than the fact that kind of like what you were saying to just piggyback with the booking aspect of this whole thing. It's like,
oh yeah,
okay. And
Yeah.
then kind of like I share Jaeger sentiment. This is where the downfall starts happening.
I mean, no, I mean, it's like it just got written into a corner. But they were just trying to. I don't know what the hell they're trying to do. Like I don't know what you can do right now. Like Wardlow, I guess, has to continue reigning, I guess, or maybe somebody can show up on Rampage or something and actually beat him. But then it's like, what the fuck is the point? Well,
Mhm.
it's just creative chaos right now for that belt.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
I mean, I can see them potentially putting it on Luchasaurus, uh, just for something to happen.
that would
But
be cool.
other than that, I really don't see anything else that makes sense. I mean, granted, the title would make sense on almost anybody else, but booking wise, there's nothing you can really do without hurting Wardlow stock unless you put it on Luchasaurus or Christian Cage for that matter. But that's the only way that would make sense. Because going back to Hobbs wouldn't do anything for anybody, and
Mm-mm.
there's no other real heel that would make sense to take it off of Wardlow without making it make sense story wise. So yeah, you give it the turtleneck. Give the title the turtleneck. Um, a weird finish. Jamie Hayter defending her title against Tony Storm.
Okay,
Yeah,
I get it. I get it from what was discussed in our group chat, but from a booking standpoint and from just an overall standpoint, having Tony win this match was like, huh?
yeah,
Wait, huh? Like, wait, what?
yeah. Especially the way she won it.
It was like, huh? And once again, the beginning of
Huh?
the downfall. It was like, huh?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Huh? And the thing is, too, and so
It,
this is the way I look at it in AEW's case, because, WWE, we know, is established. Any other companies, I'm looking at it for an AEW standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
This is what, year 4 or year 5?
No, it's year
Year
4.
3. No, 4,
They said
sorry.
year 3.
4.
Okay, so this is year 4 for AEW. And if you're looking at it from a standpoint, Tony Storm is now a 2-time women's champ.
The first ever.
Most likely, Hayter is going to become a 2-time women's champ.
Correct.
You have Moxley with all that creative confusion, wound up being 3-time champ. FTR is 2 times tag champ. You have what Darby Allin is 2-time, 3-time TNT champ. Guevara 3-time TNT champ. It's like you have certain people who are already multiple time champs in a 4-year span. And even I'm not saying Tony Storm isn't deserving to be champ, especially to officially have champion and not interim, but it serves no purpose because considering if you look at that group, they kind of made Saraya seem like she was more of the leader of that group in a sense.
This is true.
And it was
Yeah.
like, you give it to Storm for potentially Hater to win it back when they go to London, then it's like, okay, she couldn't just defend it in London. She had to win it back in London. Like, okay, like I was, yeah,
That's exactly where my mindset is. Is like, why wouldn't you just like, why wouldn't they instead just have her have a streak up until London and have her lose there if you want that kind of a factor?
yeah,
So
Like, but to successfully, like, but it makes sense, like Lip said, like to have her win it back and like get her lick back and like just make it, I guess, more, I guess, tasteful on the revenge side.
more than that too. And I think they also did it too because even though they did recognize her reign as an official reign, but she still had interim attached to it at
Yeah.
first. So now she can officially say, yes, I have been officially women's champ, and like Dizzle said, first 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
so
And it's like, that's cool and all, but it was like, nothing in this feud would ever think this could happen. This was supposed to be a faction feud, but now whatever.
that's correct. And that's where my mind was, because I thought this was
Action.
gonna be a 6-woman match
Yeah.
at Double or
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Same.
Um and which is why I picked Tony to win, because when my original prediction was that it was gonna be Outcast versus
Baker, Hater, and Sheeta.
correct. And I was gonna pick the Outcast to win. Because my original thought process was like, okay, we're going to Wembley, then we would logically be getting Hater versus Saraya and Wembley.
That makes sense.
And then I was like, okay, well, then maybe we'll get, one of them to win, which I was like, okay, well, maybe Saraya will end up taking the title then, because that'll give her enough time to like build her stock up even more, and they can make her an AEW Women's Champion. And then we can find a way to get back to Hater and Baker, because Baker's not turning back heel anytime soon, especially with Cole doing what he's doing and then having her
Yeah.
play face to that. So that kind of breaks it up a little bit, but Hater is legitimately injured. So,
Oh, is she?
mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I picked Tony Storm to win even more so because of that. Because okay, well, if you look at her previous the last few, I may say last couple of months,
Mm-hmm.
she's been doing less and less on TV. And then the more we get, the closer we got to Double or Nothing, the more it started to come out where, okay, well, she is dealing with something. They didn't know if it was either kayfabe or legitimate.
Okay.
And when I finally heard it, I was like, oh, they're going to pull the trigger for Storm, and then we're going to come back, because I don't think her injuries. I think right now the main thing that she had, because she has multiple injuries, but I think the main one is a shoulder injury.
Got you.
So it's something that she can actually recoup from, no problem. Because I think they were also talking about Hater going up against Mercedes at Forbidden Door. But Mercedes is hurt. So
yep, she's hurt.
That. Because Mercedes was technically supposed to be the one to go over against Willow.
I can see that.
And that's where we were going to go from there. But things happen, and now we got this. So things are all kinds of messed up.
And Mercedes just got started too.
Well, you know what happens when Mercedes starts to go hard. Eventually, that body gives up on her. Like,
yeah,
she's one of the worst cases of when things get to going for her. Her body be like, "Hey, we know you popping and all, but let me sit you down for a second."
She got, I think it was his ankle, so she's got about 8 weeks post surgery.
Okay.
Yeah, before she can actually do anything, I would say anything minor. So, yeah, that's a hard call. But knowing these professional wrestlers,
mm-hmm.
that time frame shortens significantly. So she might
It
try to be
does.
back in 6. But yeah, the one thing I didn't care for too much was the match as a whole, because you didn't make Tony look too strong in this match because of all the interference that happened within this match, and then that wonky finish where Hayter just ran to the turnbuckle. She wasn't, that push that Storm gave her was not
Strong enough.
forceful enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't think the match was over at that point, but they did it. I was like, oh, well, she really is hurt then. But yeah, that nah. I'm glad Tony won.
I'm indifferent, but like you said, if you say Hager is hurt, then it makes sense. Like I said, I'm just indifferent.
Yeah.
I would have rather it been Saraya or hell, even Ruby at this point.
Oh, I would. Yeah, I definitely would have given it to Ruby.
Ruby. Yeah, Ruby. I'm now fearing though, well, I mean, Hater's obviously going to be written out of this completely. Now, what happens if we get like, oh, we got a Saraya turn? But I thought they were going to turn for a second towards the end of that. Like when she was because it like panned or it zoomed in on just like Saraya, like kind of like on her knees, like hugging Tony, and like and Ruby was like stationed like, a little bit out of camera sight, but it looked like she was just like standing there, like she was about to run off on her.
I could see that, but I don't think they're gonna go that route. I don't think you're gonna see anybody in Outcast turn on each other. I think they're gonna actually. I think they're actually going to book their faction intelligently. I think they're gonna be a female version of like heel New Day. And I think what they're going to end up doing, because they basically have the pick of the litter. Like, you know, they do have the chance of going after Statlander. Well, we'll get into. But I also think they're going to allow the whole deal with ROH play into a factor here, because I don't know if you guys watched the media scrum.
I didn't.
But Tony Storm threw some slugs at Sky Blue.
Oh shit.
So there's also that, and then there was a question that was asked as far as like, you know, what's up with the Outcast from here, and said, well, they can do whatever at this point. So I have a feeling that they're going to try to take gold elsewhere, which will bring into the whole Ring of Honor thing. I think Athena's still champion at Ring of Honor, so there's that. There's the fact that Willow just won the New Japan Strong Championship. So there's a lot of things that they can actually do at this point that caters to them, that doesn't have to revolve just around the AEW Women's Championship. And I think that's the smart way to go about it. At least up until All In. So that's just my thoughts on it. Now I do want thoughts on this, because it's not so much the match as it was the stuff before the match.
Okay. I am going to give my legit, honest feelings. And I'm going to say my piece, and I'm going to let y'all discuss whatever. House of Black winning those trios championships was one of the best things they could have done booking-wise. Having them even now make their own set of rules for the trios championships, amazing. Booking-wise, I'm not even mad at that. You let the Acclaim lose their tag titles to the Guns, and subsequently for FTR to beat the Guns. Then you book them strong as this trios to where they won a battle royal and everything, and you had them booked to where it was like, okay, maybe when they have that collision course with House of Black, maybe the Acclaim and Daddy Ass could be the ones to beat the House of Black.
Mm-hmm.
Figure it the fuck out with the Acclaim. Them three men are too over and too popular for y'all not to figure it the fuck out. Figure it the fuck out with the Acclaim. The match wasn't bad, whatever. Figure it the fuck out with the Acclaim. Hey, Buddy Murphy, I don't blame you if you wanted to punch Castor in the face either.
Yo.
I don't blame you.
Yo.
But figure it the fuck out with the Acclaim. And I'm going to let y'all take it from there.
That rap killed me and then killed me again. Yeah, just it's almost like he had to remind me that they were champions still because they came out like that. They just came out like randoms. I appreciated it. I mean, it's like, yes, everybody loves the Acclaim. That's why they fit for this. But at the same time, yeah, you're just showing that there's no really creative direction with them. And yeah, just everything you said there. Figure it the fuck out.
Well, for one, the match was solid. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we all expected House of Black to win, so there's no surprise there. In terms, and because now that Scoot brought this up, I think this takes precedence over the whole match itself. What to do with the Acclaim? That's a simple fix, and it works the same way that booking would work for the Outcast right now.
Mm-hmm.
You put them up against the
Mogul Embassy.
Mogul Embassy. I was trying to remember the fucking faction name, the new name.
Yeah.
The Mogul Embassy, and you have them take the ROH trios titles. Or the ROH 6-man titles. And you have, because I mean, the Mogul Embassy is trash, dumpster juice, not doing anything for anybody.
Okay.
You put
only because you just said something that just triggered me again. I don't see how you have 3 men who is just all that beef. Then you add the whole caveat to Swerve buying into them, and they became the Mogul Embassy and all that. Figure it the fuck out with those 5 individuals. Figure it the fuck out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then now you take that, right? This is how we fantasy book this shit. Mogul Embassy has the numbers at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Acclaim and Daddy Ass feud with them for 6 titles. Then you get the numbers advantage in terms of the Mogul Embassy. This is where you get Keith Lee involved in here, and then you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You get the 6-man tag titles up for grabs for the Acclaim and Daddy Ass. And then you get that singles match that everybody's been clamoring for between Swerve and Keith Lee. And then after that, then you figure it the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
But at least at this point, you get those 2 taken care of, and then you could probably book Swerve in a prominent role, whether it be for the International Championship or the TNT Championship, whichever the case is. But you get Swerve and you get your money's worth for him, because right now he's being booked into oddball oblivion because it's not working out for him at this point. And then Keith Lee, I don't know what you do with him at this point, because you have so many things going on in terms of AEW that it's really, and even with ROH, it's really hard to slot Keith Lee somewhere that's going to make sense for him at this point. So him, I don't know what you can figure out, but you can figure out Swerve, and then you can figure out the Acclaimed right now at this point. So That's how I would do it. But they don't pay me to do this shit. But House of Black goes over, and shout out to Julia Hart, because
Yeah.
you definitely turned some shit around, because I was talking hot shit about Julia Hart in the beginning, and
Well, to be fair to Julia, in retrospect, considering who she was paired with at first,
yeah,
there you go. Let's leave it at
I
that.
mean, the crazy thing is, because of that aspect, it makes me appreciate her character even more
Oh
now,
yeah.
because of the way that they transition that, because they did a slow burn, and I wasn't here for that whole burn like that, because I was definitely, again, talking hot shit. But at the end of it all, looking back on it, I'm like, you know what? I appreciate it. I
Mhm.
appreciate it. And shout out to Big Shotty. Shout out to Big Shotty. Good job, my friend. Good job. Um Also, Max Caster with the foreshadowing, not just with the Buddy Matthews shit, but it's just funny how Anarchy in the Arena kind of played out, and you look back to a few of his bars. That was fucking hilarious. But we go from there, and then we get uh Cargill and Ty Valkyrie.
Do y'all got something to say? Because I got a rant. Because this was one of the
It,
things I told you about when we did the NXT Battleground.
I
Uh,
well, I mean, there's two matches in one, so you know what? You go right ahead. You
all
go
right.
right ahead.
The love and appreciation I will have for Jade Cargill, because she came in and she made things work for her. And she slowly did it. And I'm proud of her progress, and I'm proud of what they did with the character.
Mm-hmm.
This is where AEW, in a weird ass booking, fucked over Jade Cargill, because you let this woman get 60-0. You let her be the first TBS champion. You let her run roughshod over the women y'all gave her, because for some reason she could never fight other women. Like she could never fight Dr. Baker and all of them. I don't know why. Whatever. But then you pull this shit y'all did Sunday night. You had her feuding with Taya. She beats Taya. Then all of a sudden, whatever little jaw jacking happens, here comes Statlander, which we predicted a while ago. We predicted forever ago Statlander was the one. That wasn't the issue. She just had a legit match, and it was like all of a sudden, yeah, she good to go for a second one. And then boom, lose just like that. And it was like, hmm. So now she's 60-1. She doesn't have a championship. Now what the fuck you do with Jay? Third time,
Yep, he's absolutely right. Give it to this man.
third time I'm saying this. Figure it the fuck out now. How are you gonna figure this out with Jay now? Because she's never been in the main event picture to like now. She can't just all of a sudden, hey Tony, I want your belt now. I mean, what's she gonna do? Go to Ring of Honor and take Athena's title? Like, figure what's happening now. How do you book Jade Cargill now? And I'll let y'all two go, but what the fuck you go from here? Where the fuck you go from here? I mean,
I had just figured that they kept it on her long enough and we hadn't seen Statlander, so I figured that they were going to move on. I was a little pissed that Statlander got the belt this way. I'm not mad at all that she got the belt.
Hold on, Jaeger. Not to cut you off. She wasn't even in ring gear.
Exactly.
But give Jade that much respect.
Like, on the fucking Kool-Aid. Like, she got, like, this is damn near reminiscent of Bianca Belair. But I don't know. This is just, I'm happy for Statlander. I'm feeling bad for Jade. Taya, I don't know, you lost, so whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now I mean, there's plenty of people that can face Statlander, but is she gonna be a fighting champ or like, I don't know, man.
But see, this kind of goes to what Dizzle was somewhat saying with the whole social outcast. Sorry, wrong group. With the whole outcast situation. Now it's gonna look away if I understand Statlander being a face. Now it's gonna look away if Ruby or Soraya wants the TBS title,
Oh, 100%.
or maybe Rio might want the TBS title. Like, it's gonna look away if main event women might want to go against Statlander, because now it's like, oh, y'all couldn't go against Cargill, but y'all fine enough for going against Statlander. Like, the fuck kind of shit is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll open it with this question.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see if this changes your mind a little bit, Scoop.
Okay.
If they had the same instance where Jade had her match, Mark Sterling basically, or no, sorry, Mark Sterling didn't make the match official. Jade was the one that made the match official. Mark Sterling was the one that was saying that there was nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the same instance happened. Statlander comes out. They make the match official. And they give this match just the same amount of time, if not more, than what she had with Taya Valkyrie. And it becomes a very hard-hitting, very close match. And Statlander ends up coming on top. Would you feel the same way?
No, because it would have then been a legit match.
Okay.
And that then you could play off the fact of Cargill being the heel afterwards and be like, look, I already had won a match. But it's kind of like what Jaeger just said. This almost comes off Becky and Bianca 2.0.
Okay. I'm glad you said that, because that's the way that I was thinking. And this makes, well, not necessarily the Becky and Bianca thing, but it makes more sense in the fact that you still have her look strong in having two full matches and then end up losing it. And it does favor Jade in a sense. Now, I will say this: Jade is going to take time off.
You know what? Hold on. Rewind. I would have been even better if it was kind of like what House of Black did. If Jade beat Taya on Dynamite or something, and she was like, look, I'm going to be a double or nothing. I didn't beat everybody else. But to have her go back to back like that, it would have been better if she would have did like House of Black. I'm going to just throw out a TBS Open Challenge. And then they could have sat out there and waited. Nobody's music hit. Then Sterling could have been like, well, obviously there must been nobody. Because then, if her and Statlander would have had a full match, then it would have been like, oh, well, shit. This is the person we thought was going to dethrone Jade the whole time, and boom, she did it. But for her to have two matches back to back, and then, like I said, Statlander damn near in street clothes, What the fuck?
Yeah. And
I wanted to see a proper build.
and that's the problem that I have with this. The problem that I have with this is the same problem that I have with the booking of WWE's World Heavyweight Championship tournament. The thing is, we already knew that this title was catered for Seth Rollins to be the the re-inaugural champ.
Yes.
So with that, instead of just placating to the fact that everybody knows he's going to win, build up a story with how much it means to him, how much it means to everybody, especially with the fact that Roman is going to be champion for a while. We already know that Statlander was the one, whether she was rumored or whether we just have, whether being fans and just figured that she's going to be the one to take it from Jade, or at least being the one that's believably the one that's going to take it from Jade. It made sense when she came out, when they said there's nobody else. It was the perfect way to bring her back in after being back from injury. And then you can easily set up the story from there. You had weeks of build that would have been prepped. Instead of having Jade just run through each and every person, you could have easily built up a transition point to where it's like, okay, Statlander is definitely the one. Now we just got to get there, as opposed to just being like, Statlander's the one. All right, let's get there. You could have, this, in my opinion, puts a stain on Jade's title reign, because I already had my issues with it because the way that it had been booked up to this point. But the fact that you don't give her a defining feud to then dethrone her doesn't help her stock. Because as much as a lot of people would try to disagree with me, Taya Valkyrie is not the one to basically build the ending part of your title reign on. As much as Taya is good and everything like that, she doesn't do it for me.
No.
And I don't see it as a believable situation with Jade there. So to have this go back to back with Taya, that doesn't do it for me. Regardless of if you try to do the whole story about them having the same finisher, it just doesn't do it.
Especially since she hit it on her and Jade still kicked that.
Exactly.
But then the one time Jade hits it on her, it ends it, and it's like
exactly.
It's like, okay, this is what we doing.
That's the only problem that I had with that. The match was fine, but the ending and then the post-credit ending to this match, it just didn't do it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that we are not the only ones that feel this way. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who felt the same way about it, but it just could have been done better. Am I happy that Statlander's champ? Absolutely. But I think it just could have been done way, way better. Oh, wow. Yeah, we already are there. Exactly.
Okay.
Here's where we are.
I know I'm jumping out in front. I want to officially give a heartfelt, it's not apology, condolences. I don't know.
Oh, really?
This match deserved a much better treatment than what it got.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
Because one, it wasn't the main event.
Okay.
And two, it's hard to truly topple BCC versus the Elite. Even if it wasn't anarchy in the arena. BCC versus the Elite on any card is going to look fucking crazy. Now, you had your four pillars who have been, at the same time with the BCC and the Elite, been building up this storyline. Granted, they had a very roundabout way to finally making it a fatal four-way, but they made it the fatal four-way. They put energy and heart into it. They put out a banger of a match. But it was overshadowed. This should have gotten way more respect than it deserved.
Okay. Yeah, you got thoughts on this match? That match left him speechless.
Sorry, I was trying to get Loki under control, man. I legitimately thought this match was paced out very well, where it was highlighting everybody's individual talents. I mean, the fucking near falls alone were very suspensefully done. I was surprised to see the low blows, but then I keep remembering that the no DQs were going on.
Hmm.
There was a moment where I just didn't know if MJF was going to win or not. But yeah, it just made the most sense. But the question still remains on who the hell is there left.
Okay. So I've had about a good pretty much 24 hours
Okay.
to mow this match over. And it stands. Now, Scoot, you may disagree. If I change your mind, cool. If not,
Okay.
I think this match was where it was supposed to be. I didn't think that going into this match because I was surprised that it wasn't the main event. But there was one spot in this match that unfolded everything for me. And again, I could be wrong and it may not
Mhm.
even go this way, but when I seen this moment in the match, I pretty much saw the way that this whole thing was going to be booked into the end of the year.
Okay.
This match is the first of two.
Okay.
Oh, another Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah. The reason I say that is because there was so much as far as the booking and the way that the promos went leading up to this match. And that was the fact that everything was built around who helped who get into this industry and where they started from and where they were going. Everything was about them basically being squires to somebody else. And in the moment where they all started using moves of their quote unquote mentors, it clicked for me that this part was basically a match of them just stating, okay, this is where they are right now. They're in the shadow of somebody else.
Mm.
And the second match that they have is going to be them stepping into their own, and it's going to be all about them and not where they necessarily came from. Because even if you think about the stuff they did on social media, they always talked about, oh, me and this person started here. Like I think when Sammy Guevara was talking about him and Darby, said, yeah, we wrestled for for like 35 people for like $50 or whatever. Now, think what we're gonna do in the main event of this and all this other shit. I believe that the moment that it comes to MJF starting to talk about his contract expiring, it's going to be a big uproar about who's going to be the one to stop MJF from taking the title with him wherever he goes. And I think Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, and Darby are going to step up to say, we almost did it. One of us almost do it. So one of us has to be the one to stop him from taking that title. And we're just going to end up running this whole match back. And then we're going to get an even better 4-way with these four. But it's going to be basically just them being them and doing what they do best. And I think we're going to get a fantastic 4-way out of this. And I think it made sense for it to be overshadowed by the Elite versus BCC because it almost kind of talks about it. And again, I'm being poetic with it. them in the shadow of something else, them being in the shadow of their mentors, them being in the shadow of this, so they're not the main event. But when they go to this second four-way, that's going to be the one that headlines whatever show that it's on.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the way that's what my brain started working when I seen that. I know it's a fucking stretch. It is a fucking stretch.
It makes sense. But you know what I just thought about, because you just said it? It was weird when MJF kept saying, you know, the bidding war of 2024 and this, that, and the third. But like, isn't it crazy that we're like halfway there?
Yeah.
Like you know, MJF been saying this whole bidding war thing for like the last 2-3 years. And it's like, fam, 2024 is so far away. It's like, no, we're 6 months. Like we are 6 months away from 2024.
January of 2024 is when his contract is up.
Like we are like, that is crazy.
So that's why, and I had to think about it. I was like, wait a minute, 2024, when in 2024? So I looked it up during the match and I was like, oh shit, January. He's going to be champ throughout the rest of this year.
So do you think he loses it at Full Gear?
Honestly,
he'd have to.
I would want, we'll see. I would say that, but at the same time, I don't think MJF is going anywhere.
I don't think so either.
I think that it makes sense for him to win the four-way again, but I also think that it really depends. I think that he's slot, like, okay, let's hypothetically say that this match is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that he's the one that's pinned to win the second four-way. But it gives these next few months, the rest of the year, for one of these other three to step up and say, hey, my stock is rising. I should be the one to dethrone him. So I think depending on how everybody else stands and how they're booked up until that point, I think it can easily go to somebody else. But at this point in time right now, MJF is going to be the one that wins that second one. Just based on current booking.
Okay.
But a close second at this point is Sammy Guevara. And that's only because that boy showed out last night.
The thing is, Guevara, when he proves that he's a good wrestler and a good showsman, it shows, but it's the other things.
Yeah,
it's his other antics and whatever. And, you know, because even watching him on was it All Access, you see that he's not a bad guy. It's just he could just come off the wrong way, and he can come off so just punchable, and it's just like. But when it comes down to it, you can see the talent in him.
Well, you know what they say about most men. Fatherhood changes you.
That is true. That is true.
Given the time of all this going on, now I don't know how far along Ty is, but that man could have gained perspective by the end of this year.
Yep. You're absolutely correct.
Who's to say what happens? But I think that logistically speaking, it could easily transfer to Darby or Jungle Boy.
The thing is, if I'm looking at it from my perspective, if I had to choose one of the other pillars to dethrone MJF, personally, I would choose Jungle Man. And then from him, we can go wherever. But it wouldn't surprise me if they go with Darby.
I would have gone Jungle Boy myself.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I see Darby as the last of the four pillars.
Okay.
To get that main event rub like that. because I think there's so many other things that he's gonna do before that point. Um, but it really depends because he's the problem with Darby is that you have he and I hate saying this because I love Darby, but I think for him you have to have so many stars align in his favor for a situation like that to work for him. It's like that same thing with Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's always been like a fan favorite. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
wanted him to do XYZ. But it wasn't until that ladder match that he had with The Undertaker that made people actually look at him a different way. And even then, he still didn't win the title till like years later. So it's just it's situations like that. And it sucks for him, but it also works in his favor because he has so many fans behind him. But like I say, it bees what it is. And then we get to the true main event, which shout out to MJF at the scrum because they asked him if he felt slighted by not being the main event, and he responded with, "You think I want to roll around in John Moxley's blood? I'm fine with not having that slot because I wouldn't want to do that." So shout out to him. But Anarchy in the Arena. Um yeah. Yeah. This I forgot what terminology I used when we did the recap for Battleground, but for lack of the term that I use, gory spot fest. I may have said that, but a gory spot fest is what the second half of this was. Um, I enjoyed it. I'll say this. I think I may have enjoyed this more than the first one because as good as they made the JAS look in the first one, I think there was no question to be asked on who was going to step up in this match. In terms of the first one with JAS and BCC, you had 2.0 and then you had Jake Hager and then you had Daniel Garcia within that match, and you didn't know who was actually going to come out looking good. And everybody came out looking good, but there was always that question ahead of time, is this going to be worth it? The moment that the build for this feud happened, there was no question. This could have been a regular 4-on-4 without the antics of an Anarchy in the Arena. People still would have lined up to, one, put this match in the main event, and two, show up to see this match. I was not surprised at all with how good this would have been. Now, when we got to the antics at the end of it, yeah, the exploding super kick, the Matt getting his fucking feet stomped barefoot into the tacks. I'm here for it all because it's a spectacle. But again, the match as a whole, fantastic. I'm here for it. I don't know if you guys had any particular spots, and Loki does. But as far as this, I'm here for it completely. The only problem that I do have with this match is Mox. And that's not to say that he did anything bad. It's just the fact that Mox has been in so many of these hardcore-esque matches that it's starting to be the one thing that defines his in-ring career. And I know that, you can go back to CZW where he pretty much started his career and was doing a whole bunch of these death matches and shit like that. But it's almost to the point where the more matches he does like this, the more he's going to give Jim Cornette more fuel to his fire whenever he talks shit about Moxley. But outside of that, it's fan-fucking-tastic. Scoot, Jaeger, you guys got any thoughts on this match as a whole?
If I'm really being honest, I didn't care for it that much.
Jesus, the disrespect.
The build I thought was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've never been a fan of any of the Anarchy in the Arena matches.
Gotcha.
I think last one I said that I was, blasé about it. My thing is that I get it. They gotta have whatever. The problem I have with matches like this is it's the whole what's going on with everybody else. Because there's 8 people, it's splintered off, and then it's like you're clearly not seeing something. Now, granted, am I saying they should have had 4 different screens? No, but I don't know. I can appreciate the exploding super kick. I can appreciate getting uppercutted with thumbtacks all in your mouth. I can appreciate the violence, but like I said with the Battleground review, I can appreciate the violence Ilya and Dijak did compared to the violence that was done in this match.
Okay.
Because in this match, I don't know. And then, of course, you had annoying ass Don Callis on commentary. So it was like, so, and then you had that damn band. Jesus.
It was Violent Idol. Yeah, Violent Idols.
Yeah. Somebody needs to tell him about his stage makeup.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did have a strip. It was a red strip.
It wasn't a red strip.
It wasn't full blackface. But
I mean, it's kind of like on. It's like on that line where you're like, you can't get me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
It's like you know what I'm doing, but you can't like fuck with me about it.
At the end of the day, I had this red whatever.
Yeah. No, but from what I did hear, apparently he's always done that for people that go to his shows.
The mask, yeah.
Is that what you're gonna? Is that what we're calling that?
No, he has a mask that goes from like his nose to his forehead.
Oh.
So that part he had on. Now the face paint,
okay.
I do not recall, but I know he wears that mask a lot.
Okay.
I will. I'll go, Jaeger.
I was gonna say, as far as the match was concerned, yeah, Anarchy in the arenas are always chaotic. So you could just usually say this match was like a bunch of spots, but it was also supposed to, I don't know, I guess mean something for the elites. And like they actually, I don't know, I wouldn't say this is like one of the Bucks' like best matches. They've had better matches against Lucha Bros. But as far as like a group wrestling match, and then like the moments where Kenny Omega and Hangman got to team up and like do a final stand like fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like little spots like that. I mean, of course, the exploding super kick, that kind of a fight is. I mean, that kind of spot is always welcomed in my book. Don't like overdo it though, you know, like practically don't do that again. Like, but yeah, I can see. Like, I actually really liked the twist that Lippo was already hinting at. Um, yeah, and if it goes the way he and I are both thinking about, then it'll be Kota Ibushi to join us.
So that kind of raises my question, and I have to ask if you guys would feel better about this direction versus the violent aspect of this feud, and that's the fact that we have on both sides completely 5-star credible professional wrestlers on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the fact that usually in big feuds, the big violent match is usually like the blow off match because you know everything is coming to a head. But what if, and it's another hypothetical, and but I think it is kind of going this way. What if it's the opposite, where it's like as the elite, you know, we're not catered to this aspect. Can we do it? Yes, but it's not our thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But instead, they go the route of we go from this to these 5-star classics that we can get as far as mix and matching with both sides that lead up to probably another violent match, maybe, or just some type of storyline that I can't comprehend at the moment because it's hard to kind of decipher what you would do with going the opposite direction where now you're mixing and matching these guys, whether it be a tag match with the Bucks and, you know, Yuta and Claudio, you know, to a point where you get Omega and Bryan Danielson, which of course they already alluded to the fact that he never beat Omega.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the idea of Kota Ibushi and a Konosuke Takeshita. And so on and so forth. But the fact that we can go either way with this, would you feel better if they went that route versus having everything just be a violent standoff between both sides?
Hmm. My issue personally is that at some point I'm going to get tired of seeing this. This
Mm.
is
Yeah.
almost gonna turn into when the whole Outcast and originals was getting a little stale.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if we're seeing a combination of different matches or whatever, at some point I'm gonna be like, when's this going in?
Okay.
If they was already doing that prior, because the one thing that's not factored into this whole situation, which I thought was hilarious, the elite were not the only ones getting tortured by the BCC. So we're gonna just write out the Dark Order. We're gonna just write out the other random people that they were just beating the shit out of.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
elite were not the only ones getting their asses beat by the BCC. We talking about Top Flight. All well, one of them is injured, but yeah, they weren't the
Maybe
only
they're all
ones.
gonna maybe they're all gonna come back now. in
But
these new-
they weren't the only ones being tortured by the antics of the BCC. And now, if all we're going to get is a bunch of BCC and elite things until match number 2,
Mhm.
and then even if now it's going to feel like we're going to need a third one
Mm.
because if the elite wins 2 There's gonna have to be a third.
Yeah.
And then once again, how do you book this after? What do you do with the BCC after? What do you do with the Elite after?
This is why I like to this is why I like to end up calling championship matches maybe a defense or two early, because look at where we're at. Or I'm sorry, but like not only with championship matches, but even like with grudge matches like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could have ended the grudge match here by winning here. And then on Wednesday had Konosuke betray them and join the BCC. And then I don't know. You could have just ended it and then eventually had or I don't know. I like right now you should definitely have the elite like licking their wounds, but I can't see for how long or like because like you said, we're gonna have to have something to fill the gap. I like you were saying, the teams that lost against the BCC could show back up,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I I can tell you I don't really know.
Oh yeah, this is. Oh man.
So
Wait, that's okay. So yeah, first Blood and Guts was in May. Second was in June. So yeah, we could be looking around the time of Forbidden Door. So they could be doing something around there. I personally I
I could
wouldn't
see it being I could see it be for Forbidden Door.
I personally wouldn't want to book the Elite versus the BCC and Blood and Guts because it'd be like a rinse and repeat of what they have done because they did Inner Circle, no, the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle and the first one, and then they ended up doing like the Stadium Stampede with Inner Circle and the Elite, and then the
Yeah.
second Blood and Guts they did JAS and BCC Anarchy in the Arena, and then they did Blood and Guts. And this is kind of going the same way. I think they need to call an audible and exclude BCC and the Elite feud from Blood and Guts and do something else, but probably have um something happen at Forbidden Door instead. Um and then figure it out from there. But I don't think they should rinse and repeat what's going on. But um as far as this Anarchy in the Arena went, I don't have too much of a problem with it. I think it served its purpose. But I think there is the question that kind of Scoot kind of raised, and that's the fact of where do you go after this? Because it's easy to say Blood and Guts. It is definitely easy to say that, but what happens after that, especially if you're not going to have the BCC go over twice, within 2 months. I think that something has to happen, and you have to have a logistical way to end this because you have two sides that won't necessarily give up that easily. So you'd have to have something that culminates into a definitive end. And I think that's where the question mark lies. So, and I can't even hypothetically book that myself. So I don't know. And I don't know what you would do, but um yeah. Do you guys have any closing thoughts on Double or Nothing as a whole?
Mm, it wasn't one of their best pay-per-views,
Mm.
and it wasn't their worst.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I think
Yeah.
it sucks for NXT. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
One thing I will say though, TK, let this be an eye opener for you. That you can't sit here and continue to play nice with WWE. You need to change the time slot of Rampage, and you need to stop trying to cater to what they're doing. They don't give a shit about what you got going on, and they will book against you
At all.
anytime that they can. So do yourself a favor and stop doing them favors. Just saying.
Ooh, bars.
But yeah, that's all I got. I don't know if you guys got anything else on that or just.
I guess congratulations to you for your
Oh man, I almost forgot that I
this is what Reign 5.
So it's not now because you got what 6? You want to talk mess, man? That's
No. I'm just asking. This is Reign number 5.
It might be.
So
Maybe.
saying like you lost it and got it back with the quickness. Like I mean,
Well, that's because I should not have lost it to begin with.
Well, that was your fault. You picked wrong people at Backlash.
Technically, look, Brock should have won at Backlash.
I agree.
Brock should have won at Backlash. That's as simple as that. That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. But it bees what it is. It bees what it is, and White Gold is back where she needs to be, and that's fine. But it's not happening again. You know, we're gonna make it through Forbidden Door. We're gonna make it through Money in the Bank. We're gonna make it through what? All In and SummerSlam, and we're gonna be fine. That's just how things are gonna be.
You got Money in the Bank as well.
Yeah, I thought I said Money in the Bank, but
did you? I ain't paying it. I ain't hear you.
Well, we got it. We got it twice. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. And we're gonna leave this where it is. Just simple. Just set this down right now so that way I can do this nice outro shit. But to all those that were behind me, we got it back. For all of those who were against me and didn't want me to have this back. And I'm not talking about my compatriots here because they already know how I feel about them if they win my shit. But to those of you who are backing them and against me, fuck you. Fuck you all. But to my fans, we here. We got it back. But
whatever.
Whether you loved it, hate it, don't forget to rate it, thumbs up, thumbs down. Leave all your comments, concerns, questions down below. Whatever opinions that you have, they go down there as well. But make sure you tag that like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell, all that good shit. Let me warm up this hand as I am wearing this Bullet Club shirt so I can get that Too Sweet ready for the boys with a good bada. Bam. And until you see these immaculate faces, these handsome faces, and hear these immaculate voices, I bid you all to do a farewell and all that good shit. Until next time, you beautiful, beautiful mother effers. Tag the fucketh. Ow.